please to help me with my rucksack?
Oh yeah, sure, why not?
For this listening session, I experimented a little bit with the toe out on the DALI speakers sitting there on this stereo bench. And I also added wirelessly a subwoofer, the new Buchart Sub 10 sitting there, a little bit away from the corner because we are not using any kind of room correction. You are listening to the system as it is in this room, okay? So the sound will have some lumps and bumps, especially in the low end. But I think this is what many people will encounter when they just buy a system and throw it up there, and maybe add a subwoofer and dial that subwoofer in just using the level control. So let's check it out and then listen to the results. I will play a couple of tracks so you have a feel for how it actually sounds on these captured by these reference DPA microphones. Those are the same kind of microphones that I used on 2L's recordings. I'm in the mood for the blues. Let's hear what Kepmo had to say about his suitcase.
I got a suitcase, I take it everywhere I go.
We feel the lumps here on
I got a suitcase, baby,
on some of the notes, bass notes,
I take it everywhere I go.
which could be fixed using room
Just a
correction.
big old bag of trouble. Trouble's all I know. I met a girl, fell in love, and our love was true.
I just love the vocal presentation.
I met a girl, fell in love. Whoa, our love was true. Well, I found out.
We're doing pretty decent levels here, around 80, 85 decibels, 82, 85, something like that. You know, what people would call refreshingly loud. Another favorite here, Van Morrison, Whenever God Shine His Light. Always a great comparison. Can be very thin sounding. Oh, loving the bass already.
Whenever God shine a light on me, open up my eyes so I can see. When I look up in the darkest night, then I know everything is gonna be alright. In deep confusion, in great despair, when I reach out for him, he is there. When I am lonely as I can be, and I know that God shines his light on me. Reach out for him, reach out for him. He'll be there, he'll be there. Within your trouble.
Again, these speakers have a wonderful, excited quality to me. When sitting down listening for hours on end, it might be a little tiring, but it really brings excitement to the sound. Every time you hear something new, you are surprised that they are so musical and deliver this well, even at pretty loud volumes. And I especially like the quality they have with voices. So if you are like a voices kind of guy, I'm sure that you would really dig these speakers. Let's just listen to them for the punch here and some beefy big drums. Actually sounding fatter than punchy here.
All you hypocrites and liars in the temple seeking gain, all your senators and lawyers with your motives to explain, all you victims and your heroes, your petitions to complain.
Yeah, and we're not getting the biggest soundstage here either, or depth. But again, great sounding vocals, a little soft in the low end, not that punchy on this particular track. Maybe we can try something else that kind of calls for that kind of fat bass. Here with Tim's test favorite.
Check it. Word is born.
Here we really get the benefit of that sub 10 taking over under 50 hertz. But of course it doesn't feel that super well integrated without any kind of room correction. I mean, it's a bit like the bass is an entity by itself here on this track. It's a little crazy. Okay, so I think these speakers are really great in the more happy-go-lucky genre, maybe.
Put your pinky rings up to the moon. Girls, what y'all trying to do? 24 karat magic in the air. Head to toe, so clear. Look out. Pop, it's showtime. Showtime. Guess who's back again? Oh, they don't know. Gone time. Oh, they don't know. Gone time. I bet they know as soon as we walk in. Show up, I'm wearing Cuban links. Designer mix. Inglewood's finest shoes.
And I really dig the Dali speakers also at lower listening levels. I mean, they have this wonderful all-round friendly character to them that really doesn't exhibit errors or bad sound a lot. They are just all about musical enjoyment, and I think they are very suitable for many people today that do not go necessarily into big depth listening through an entire track and trying to live themselves into it. It's more like a peripheral maybe thing, listening to music. And for those kind of people, this system is just bringing the best of everything in a very nice package, I think. Let me grab just something old to get that feel for that musicality. A mono track. I love this classic Louis Prima track.
I'll be glad when you're dead to rise for you. I'll be glad when you're in your grave, dog. When you're dead and in your grave, no more ravioli will you crave. I'll be glad when you're dead to rise for you. I'll be glad when you're dead.
Yeah, I mean, with the absolute best systems, you will be able to hear layers and a lot of depth in that mono recording. It's a little bit more two-dimensional, but I love the sound of it.
I will be glad when you're dead to rise for you. I'll be glad when you're in your grave. dog. I'll be standing on a corner plastered.
Yeah, they kind of had more fun back in the day, I think. Okay. That feels kind of inspiring. Good old Iron Man. Black Sabbath. I'm sure they were under the influence when they did that track. It really, all the tinniness of Iron Man is just being removed with these speakers. We are presented with a very nice, soft, rounded presentation of the track. Actually feeling a bit warm. Very nice, but not dull in any way, but warmish. So if you like that kind of music, your ears won't be shredded completely by listening to this. Yeah, and some of you might like to hear a great jazz classic or something really analog. This one is a personal favorite of mine. The Pink Panther team, recorded by the, I think the Hollywood Orchestra. It's a great, really vital thing. I mean, lots of vitality in there, so much dynamics and bite and naturalness in the sound. And here you immediately feel some of the limitations of the tuning that Dali is known for, because it's not really this super realistic rendering of that saxophone. It's kind of has very soft edges, you know, but the system still has the dynamics to portray it really well. But it's not the naturalistic thing they are going for, definitely. It's more that all-round family wagon pleasing kind of speaker. And definitely a good thing. I mean, if you're not practicing super focused listening and going for that hi-fi realism and just goes for loving all kinds of different music, this is really a great system. They really strike a nice balance here that works for almost everything. Yeah. So that was a little listening here before I do the big review. My last listening session with the Dali Rubicon 2C and the little sound hub. I think it's an excellent little system at the price, and adding a sub to help out below 50 hertz, great idea. Will just enhance the ability of the system, but it's not paramount. I mean, it does very well without, even in a room this size. The Dali Rubicons has been a real pleasure to have around for the past couple of months. Every time the room is changing or some new gear being put up, because it was so easy to set up with the little sound hub and everything wireless, it kind of became, you know, the main music system for background music and work music. So I became really familiar with the sound, and at no point have I hated on it in any way. It's a great system, and I would happily use it for all kinds of applications where great music is needed, and a lot of different people are using the system and playing loads of different kinds of music. That is really the strong force. And I also think it takes some vision and some strength from a company to actually decide on doing something like that. I mean, keep their eye on the common enjoyment of most people when doing a system like this, because some reviewers might take it apart, saying this is not real hi-fi or not natural sounding enough or whatever. But it's really a strong suit for this particular system. So thank you for listening in. See you on the other side. If you like Experimenters, check out the Experimenters playlist. Boom! Yes, sir. For more speaker reviews, check the Speakers Reviews playlist. Schmack! And the awesome Dream Speaker reviews. Blam! And may I also suggest that you check out the Hi-Fi News and Quick Reviews episodes that contains all kinds of advice, ideas, including music suggestions, rants and interviews, and hi-fi business news, also collected in a playlist here. Slam.
Ladies and gentlemen, here comes the AV therapist himself. Jan Hall Reviews.
Sæt dig, Ubo. Sæt dig! Sit!